my Carvana buying experience, and I know this can't encompass all other experiences, but just right out of the gate, they had the best price for the Ford Lightning that I was looking for by far. There were several options out there, at least in Arizona. I was willing to drive all the way, I mean, cross country. I am no stranger to driving different states to buy a vehicle. So that was never a that was not a factor, a limiting factor. So so I started my journey as anybody would. I started looking at pretty much every avenue, whether it be Auto Trader, local dealerships, which a local dealership came very, very close. Um, but nobody could touch Carvana's prices for this package. Now, you need to know that at the time I was looking, at least, or rather, what was in my price range, there are three specific Lightnings packages, if you will, trim packages. You've got the base Pro. The Pro is very easily recognizable because it does not have the light bar that's on the front of the grill. And that's kind of, I know it sounds gimmicky, but I kind of like the light bar. And I have already looked into a forum, a Lightning forum, where somebody added the light bar to their Pro. So it's not like it's an option that can't be. They had to do some cutting and some wiring and stuff like that. So it's not a plug and play thing. So it did require some modification. I was willing to do it. I was willing to do it. But but yeah, so that's how you can tell what a Pro is. And then the front end is like a matte black or maybe a high gloss black or whatever. And so yeah, the XLT, which is what I have, is the next package up. And then there's the Lariat. And then there's the Platinum. I know I said three, but I said three because the Platinum was not in my price range, or at least it wasn't comfortably in my price range for the miles. I saw one in like New York, I think it was, a Platinum, which that's segue real quick. That's where people are getting this 100 plus $1,000 price tag when it comes to these Lightnings. That is the top of the line massage seats, automatic folding side view mirrors, Blue Cruise, which is the autopilot, if you will, for Ford, hands free, literally physically hands free. You just sit here and you just have to make sure your eyes are on the road, the highway. It's not on surface streets. It's highway only and only mapped highways. So yeah. So anyway, that's the $100,000 Lightning. There, I believe Ford said if you want to buy the Pro, if you buy 25 Pros, I believe maybe it's 15 Pros. If you buy 25 of them, you get them for like 25 grand. So if you buy a fleet of Pro Lightnings, you get them for 25 grand each. So they're they're out there. And so anyway, back to what I was talking about. I did find a Pro that was local. The Pro had like 5,000 miles on it. It was clean. It wasn't from here, which that didn't bother me, but it was at a local dealership. It was a local trade-in, or rather, not a local trade-in. It was traded into a local dealership here, but it was from like Colorado or something like that. That didn't really phase me, to be honest with you. Um, but and I did go check it out, and I really liked it. Um, Obviously, the power was really what I was looking for. The power of these things is just, oh, chef's kiss. So anyway, and they wanted like 35 grand for that. Now that's a good price until I saw that it's very possible that this Lightning could have been purchased brand new for 25 grand or somewhere around there. And that's before taxes, fees, title, registration, blah blah blah, and all that good stuff. So, and it was missing things like not only the light bar, but it was missing some other things. Oh, the seats. I don't like vinyl seats. Not here in Arizona. Absolutely not. Vinyl seats will absolutely run you out of the car. And yes, I understand that you can get seat covers and things like that, but yeah. And it had what else was missing? There was something else that was really bothering me about the Pros. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely a lot more serious than just having vinyl seats and vinyl floors. Man. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, so yeah, so kept looking, Auto Trader, all the fun stuff, eBay, all the places you could think of, even Cars and Bids. Um, Auto Tempest was a good one. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Auto Tempest, which is like a shopping mall, if you will, online for all the places that has anything to do with cars. You can search on Auto Tempest and get a result from every website, including Craigslist, for crying out loud. Sometimes, so that's how I came across Carvana. A lot of their Carvana has a lot of their stuff posted like everywhere, and I saw that this one could be delivered to the house, and I was like, well, wow. Now you do, unfortunately, the trucks and large SUVs, you do not get to go to the vending machine dealership, if you will, put the giant coin in and have it lowered down like a vending machine. Unfortunately, you do not get to experience that. I didn't get to experience that. That's okay. It was delivered to my house, right to my doorstep. Um, so here's the thing: the first truck that I got, I actually had a black one, jet black, also an XLT, and I did not realize at the time, me, of all people, all the research that I did, I didn't realize that you can't get or that it was an option to get the Pro Power on board. Pro Power was and is a a game changer, because Pro Power, which is basically, uh, to put it in plain English, it's outlets on the truck, real household 240-volt outlets on this truck, in my frunk, the front trunk, and in the bed. The 240 is in the bed. So what this means is I can charge other vehicles at 240 volts, which is level 2 charging, like we talked about in my winter video. Level 2 charging from the back of my truck. And fun little fun little fact, when I had the other Lightning for my channel, my Jeep was actually, at the time, I didn't have my Lightning yet. I still had my Jeep Wrangler plug-in hybrid. My Jeep had to be delivered to the dealership for a recall, and I wanted to go pick it up because I flat towed it to the dealership. It needed a new battery. I'm sure we can talk about that later if you want to see that video. Leave that in the comments if you want to see, or you want to hear me talk about the what happened with my Jeep Wrangler. By the way, it was not a big deal to me. But that's only because me and my family have like 5 cars and there's only 2 adults. And yes, they all run, they're all insured. So having an extra vehicle was not an issue for us, even though I still did get a rental. So anyway, let me know in the comments if you want to know about the situation with my Jeep Wrangler 4xe. And yes, we still have one. We've had 3 so far. My wife leased one, I bought one, and then after her lease was up, she bought one and obviously turned in the lease. And then I bought the Lightning. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys want to hear the story about that. Okay. So yeah, when I had the other Lightning for my show, you can go ahead and check out the video in my list of videos. I didn't take a video of this, but that truck that I'm talking about is in the previous videos. I was able to flat tow my Jeep Wrangler and plug it into the truck while I'm towing it home. Completely gimmicky, honestly. I only live like 10 minutes away from the dealership, so actually, 10 minutes is quite a bit of charge for the 4xe Wrangler, given that the battery is not super huge. So, technically, yeah, that actually is pretty cool. But it's just the fact that you can. I was able to flat tow my Wrangler 4xe with a Ford Lightning and charge it on the way home at level 2 speeds. That I wish I would have recorded that, but it's just one of those things where, I didn't think it was cool at the time, and then I'm like, how many people do that? Honestly, how many people go around towing other vehicles and then charging them at the same time? Mm, one. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so Pro Power on board. Land the plane, CJ. Pro Power on board was actually, and you cannot add that later. So yeah, the Pro Power on board was absolutely crucial. I wanted that. I needed that. And I do use it. I actually do use it. I have power tools that I like to use, like a small welder, somewhat relatively large mobile compressor. I have a skill saw. I have a miter saw. Point is, I didn't know that there was an option for a lesser Pro Power um, inverter system. So anyway, so the black truck didn't have it. Didn't know that until it came, got delivered, and I'm like, oh shoot. I popped the covers open and it's just a blank cover. That's when I found out that there's a 7.2 kilowatt Pro Power system, and then this one that's in this truck, which is a 9.6 kilowatt system. That's a huge difference, especially when you want to use all of it, or if you ever want to plug in the house, for example. That's huge. That's a huge difference. That's the difference between not running an air conditioning at the house and running an air conditioning or both air conditioning units at the house. So yeah, this one I was watching this first, but then it said somebody already, started the paperwork on it. When you watch a vehicle on Carvana, it'll tell you in real time, hey, sorry, somebody actually started the paperwork on this. Unfortunately, we're going to have to hold it until yay or nay, things go down correctly for them, or it doesn't go down, or they don't want it, or something else happens. We can keep you in the loop. Do you want that? Yes, I do. So I had the black truck, the Black Lightning XLT, no side steps, which was weird. I'll put up a picture. And yeah, and and I got to thinking about it even before this truck popped back up. I was thinking about it and I'm like, geez, dude, pitch black, black interior. It was cloth seats, but it was all black, everything. Even the rims were black. In Arizona, in South Arizona, no, sir. That is just a disaster. That's what my Wrangler was. And I'm trying to tell you, I would have to manually precondition my Jeep Wrangler in the summertime for at the very least 30 minutes just so it doesn't feel like HE double hockey sticks inside, because that did have leather, black leather seats, black everything, interior, black, my hardtop, black, everything super hot. It was literally, even an oven would be like, ooh, it's hot in here. Why are you like this? So don't get me wrong, I like the heat and I'd rather burn than freeze, but sheesh, that was pushing it. And the AC in the Jeep, I don't know if that's just my experience or not, but it just could not handle unless I actually, like I said, I had to manually precondition the Jeep every time I'd leave, before I leave for work, like 30 minutes before, because that's the maximum. After 30 minutes, it turns off automatically. So, yeah, there was just no way I was doing that again. So, I believe it was like a Sunday. I got a notification in my email that says, hey, that truck you were looking at, it's back on the market. Didn't go through with the previous whatever. I was elated. I was like, yes. I was at work. On my lunch, I went and called Carvana and I said, hey, I've had this truck for like 22 hours. The truck I was really looking at, which is already in my list, they were able to see that. They said, yes, sir, we see that in your list. It is available. Would you like to go ahead and swap them out? I said, yes, I would. Are you kidding me? Yes, I would. Absolutely. It had everything. And there were a lot of things, like little tiny things, that were either missing from that truck or kind of like shaddily done. Like, for example, clearly the previous owner didn't like the light bar, I guess. They didn't like the look of it. So they plasti dipped it. So the light bar had, and then Carvana, I'm assuming, I don't know if maybe perhaps the previous owner did that before they sold it or traded it into Carvana, but somebody at some point removed the plasti dip and it did not come off very well. Uh, so that looked kind of crappy. The rims, plasti dipped, it looked kind of crappy. Just the overall appearance of the truck kind of looked kind of crappy. So there were things that were missing, like I believe it didn't have any floor mats, which that's not a super huge thing, but it's just like, dang, I wish they would have had floor mats. Um, there, the Tesla adapter, which I have somewhere in here. The Tesla adapter, so because you can use Tesla chargers, even though I hate using them. In worst case scenario, if I have to, I will. But the adapter, the official Ford adapter for using their fast chargers was missing, and that was a free thing that um, you can get from Ford when you have these. They literally sent an email or some kind of communication out to the owners and said, "Hey, where can we send this? This is a free gift for you. You're welcome." Um, so that was missing. I didn't know it was missing at the time. So, but yeah, that was missing. I'm sure the previous owner probably kept it if they had another EV. That's perfectly fine. That's their property. It's totally fine. There are hooks that come with the truck. Hold on, let me get them. Actually, these hooks. Look at that, still in the package. Whoa. Still in the package, for crying out loud. I haven't used these yet. There are other hooks in the bed, but these are other tie down hooks that actually lock into place. Factory stuff. I don't know exactly how much these are from the factory or even aftermarket. Maybe they're nothing. Maybe they're like $20. Maybe they're $120. I don't know. But the previous truck didn't have them at all. Don't know where they are. Maybe it just didn't come with them. I don't know. But I didn't even know this was a thing, and I thought, that's weird. Why does the bed look so weird in this? The previous truck did not have a bed liner. This has an official from Ford spray-in bed liner, which, you know, if you actually put stuff in the back of your truck, like I do, I haul stuff all the time, like engines and transmissions, uh, and yeah, I appreciate that. So the previous truck didn't have that, and the bed was dented and already scratched, quite a bit actually. All little things that were missing, and I just yeah. So when this came back up, I was super excited. I was like, heck yes. The All I did was call them. They said it's still available. Let me go ahead and lock you in right now, and while you're doing the paperwork. And when they say while you're doing the paperwork, it's e-docs that you just have to sign. Where you do this number and then hit next, and then it'll just save your signature, and you just hit next, 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 next. Boom, you're done. If you've ever bought a vehicle at a dealership, my wife and I have been in a dealership 4 hours trying to get, and this is a dealership that already knows us. It took them like 3.5, 4 hours to get us taken care of. Um, so being able to do my paperwork at home in a matter of just a few minutes, I don't even think I think I was watching a show that's like 20 minutes long without commercials, and I was done before the show was done. So that that right there is worth it. In my experience, or at least as far as I'm concerned and as far as I could see, for the most part, Carvana's fees are less, since they don't have to pay their salesmen, because they don't have them technically. Uh, you know, uh, their overhead is lower. I mean, look at their dealerships. It's a giant vending machine, for crying out loud. Maintenance is absolutely nothing. Keeping the lights on is nothing. Their overhead is lower, so they're able to transmit those savings over to you. And so yeah, um, absolutely beautiful experience both times, if you will. They delivered the truck, they picked up the other one and delivered this one, and I couldn't be happier. I'm the only thing that I wish this truck did have is a bigger battery, which I won't talk about that in this video because we're already out of time. But I'm just going to touch on this for 2 seconds. There was an independent shop, and there's a YouTube video about it, where a Ford Lightning, a 2022, I believe it was, had like over 200,000 miles, or at least over 150,000 miles. It might have been over 200,000 miles. Did end up having a bad battery or a bad module. Um, I'm going to touch on that in another video as well. But so this private owner, they had a contractor truck, and they brought it to this independent shop, and they said, "Hey, I've got a bad module in this battery, but rather repairing this battery, which you can do relatively inexpensively, they got a. I'm guessing they found a really good deal on the bigger battery pack, right? And this independent shop was able to swap the batteries, and I got to tell you, it did not take anywhere near as long or anywhere near as many tools as you think it would. Whole battery pack. So that truck went from having like 240, 250 miles of electric range to like 320, 330 miles of electric range just by swapping the battery pack. No other stuff needed. No flashing, no programming, literally just dropping the battery out, disconnecting it, dropping it out, putting the new battery in, reconnecting it. That's it. So I will talk about that later. That's something else that I think scares a lot of people about EVs is the battery pack. Um, so yeah, we'll talk about in that in another video. Carvana buying experience for me personally was flawless. Everybody was great. I had no issues at all. They took care of me. I hate that I was not able to use the vending machine, the big coin and all that, but hey, that is okay. I got a truck that has been working hard for me ever since I've gotten it. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. So I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. Make sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your foes, tell everybody. And I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Or rather, you'll see me in the next video. Or we'll see each other. Either way it goes. Bye-bye.